Hello everyone, hope you're well. This is a difficult post for me because I am going through a grief that I'm trying to cope with. But I thought I would share this on my space. So normally I share hair, but as I struggle with catching up with myself, I realize if I don't deal with this part of my life, what I'm going through now, I'm probably going to struggle with doing posts and sharing hair and lock story. Ultimately, this space is about sharing lock story, but in sharing the lock experiences that I'm having and the transformation I'm having, life is part of that. Basically, I mean, the reason why I was so keen to follow my instinct with my locking experience was because I am so aware that life happens. And by that I mean, apart from the busyness of our lives, apart from wanting to pursue our goals, there are things that happen to us that slow us down completely, which has happened to me. And hair does not become a priority. Hair is not a priority. So when I created Knotted Locks, it was for the moment that I'm going through now, the moment each and every one of us is going through. So previously I posted about why I was so excited about following my instincts and disregarding all the Sister Locks rules to pursue maximum fullness and independence, Locks independence, Locks freedom for our hair, to make informed decision without fear. Because I felt like Sister Locks it started with all good intentions, but unfortunately when people aren't confident with what the work they're executing, they tend to protect their business, their service, through fear. And so for me, Sister Locks became very fear-filled rather than just independent, winging it a bit. And life is like that. It's so unexpected. The most unexpected thing can happen and all of a sudden you've got to wing it. So it's preparing. And so that's what I feel Knotted Locks has given me. Because unfortunately, first week of lockdown, I suddenly lost my brother. And for me, there was no sign. So I did not prepare. So I've had to go through quarantine, isolation, taking care of my brother's business, all aspects of my brother's business, from taking care of where he was based, his home, to like closing down accounts, to organizing a funeral with quarantine and isolation. And because it was sudden, not knowing how he passed and waiting for that information. And then everything has brought me to this point. I do not even know how I'm able to function, because I've never lost someone. I've never lost a sibling, should I just say. I've never lost a sibling, and he was my big brother, and he was so special because he had learning difficulties, but he was a super rational guy. It's just that when you saw my brother, you might think that not a lot is going on, but he was so passionate about being somebody who had learning difficulties and the rights of people with learning difficulties and the right to live independently and the right to express himself, even though he struggled because he suffered from myotony dystrophia, which I'll share my eulogy that I read at his funeral another time, but I just wanted to come online and just explain to you that I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling. And I'm a really transparent person. So if I don't speak about my loss, if I don't speak about how I feel, I can't move forward. It's just the way I'm built. So I've just come to say to you, I'm working on it. And I have, in preparing for bidding farewell to my brother and sending him off, all the information that he used to give me, all the moments we shared, our childhood, his passion for being somebody who had learning difficulties. He lived happily. He celebrated his life. He was such a positive guy. I respected my brother so much. He is my big brother. He was my big brother. So in celebrating him, I'm like, I have so much sadness and sorrow. Where do I place that? Where do I place that to move on? I recognize that a lot of people who are pursuing their dreams, I am pursuing my dreams. Things happen that stump us. It stumps us to the point where we don't know how to continue or how to thrive in this moment of sadness. Where do we take the dream, our business? I'm just such a positive person, but to have this experience, it's like, where do I channel it? So I've been struggling with that because he died the 27th of March, and we're now 2 months, almost 2 months in, and like, doesn't this shift? So anyway, I feel because he's my big brother, so I feel his guidance all the time. Every time, everything has gone smoothly with bidding him farewell, and all the arrangements I've had to make from everything's gone well. And I feel like he's directed me to channel my sadness. So I'm doing that under my personal Facebook. So if you want up to date, because I now have to live as somebody who has a dream. Like, there's a reason why I came in this brown skin. There's a reason why I have African texture hair. There's a reason why I had a passion for locks. All of that I have to pursue because that is my calling. But my brother had a separate calling, and his calling was about being somebody who belonged to the learning disability, the learning difficulty community. So what I'm trying now to do is to represent my brother, and whilst pursuing my dream. So I now feel like I have two callings, like the hair situation, talking about the locks, explaining to you my experiences and the heads I touch, as well as sharing my brother's dream, because he wanted to be a voice for people with learning difficulties, and he tried his best to do that, and he did that very well in his lifetime. He passed away at 50, so he did very well, but there's more that he wanted to do, and because his heart just stopped suddenly, and he deteriorated, he had to go, so I'm taking over. So the hashtag is remembering Des. My brother's name was Desmond, so remembering Des. I've started a GoFundMe page, which I'll put on the link below, and it's to say thank you to the London-based charity that looked after him, that gave him the confidence to want to live independently, that gave him his life really and employment. So I'm raising funds for that, so feel free to donate. And I'm also creating. So some of you who followed me know that I crochet. So yes, I have been crocheting. So maybe at the end of this post, I will put some of my work. So that's a hashtag Melissa Creates. And I'm creating weavable rugs, weavable interior pieces. So seats, covers, rugs, blankets, floor mats. In the aim is like into celebrating my brother's life, remembering Des. So that's the hashtag remembering Des. Where do I channel my sadness, my sorrow, how I feel? I need to because that's what I'm like. I need to be my solution, and I need to transform the sadness I feel into celebrating my brother's life. And so to look at something, create something, and know, right, I've created that from the love I have for him. Yes, I'm missing him, but I'm doing something with it, and it gives pleasure to someone. 20% of the sales from the rugs I create, for the weavable items I create, will always go to Camden People First, which is the charity that I'm raising funds for on behalf of my brother who can't speak anymore, who's transitioned, who's passed away. So let me show you what I'm creating. Yeah, so this is the example of the rugs I'm creating. That's two. That's the first one. So this first one that I created is the first. When I thought of my brother, I thought I want to create something that I can look at and know my brother's inspired me to do that, and it helps me remember my brother. And then this is the second one that I'm creating. So that's how I'm channeling my grief. When I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, I kind of give myself the space to be sad and to feel how I'm feeling. and then I know I'll be back. But I know if I don't do this post, I'll struggle to continue. The point is that as we live with our African texture hair, sometimes it doesn't take priority. My hair does not take priority, believe it or not. I know you're looking and thinking, oh, she styled it, but I've just put it in knots. I've just tucked it and put it in knots. But the growth is there, and I mean, there's a lot of growth. The growth is there, and I've not had time to knot as often, but it doesn't bother me at all because my hair stays separated with the knotted locks technique. And so that's the point. And also in this quarantine where, we're going on 2 months into the quarantine, looking like 3 months, I don't need to touch people's hair because I've been knotting their hair for 18 months. And because I've been knotting their hair for 18 months, their hair is naturally separated. My hair is naturally separated. So that is the point, is I'm creating a service, I'm creating a solution to prepare us for the future. Whether we want to pursue our dreams and travel and live somewhere else, but we just want to get our hair knotted a few times a year, maybe 3 times a year or 4 times, or even once a year, we can do that. The dream is to have locks like the traditional locks people whose hair I was looking after. I feel like because we carried smaller size locks, we were penalized. I felt like we were being penalized for having these small size. I prefer my hair the size it is, but I don't want to have it high maintenance, and I don't want to give people a high maintenance service. I want to give them absolutely gorgeous hair, the fullness, look after their follicles, but as less interference from me as possible. And because of the quarantine, I'm being proven right. Knotted locks all the way. Thank you for watching this post. Keep me in your prayers because I am going through this struggle of adapting to the fact that I've lost my brother and wanting to represent him and be the voice for him, for people with learning difficulties. But also I want to be able to show you how I'm grieving, because death is something in our community that's not discussed. So maybe it helps somebody who has lost a loved one to think, right, where do I put it? It's all right to cry about it. It's all right to feel devastated. I mean, my typical stance is going on all fours and just wailing my heart out because I've missed my brother. But then I cry 10 minutes, 5 minutes sometimes, and then I get on with the day, and I'm able to interact with my family and be present in my life, not walking like a zombie, which sometimes I feel I'm doing, talking to myself. But maybe in my transparency of showing you how I'm grieving, it'll help you in anything you're going through. So thank you for watching this post. Take care of yourself, and I will come back.
Certified Sister. I didn't know because I was in Africa by the time when I was small, I was not actually doing well. When I came back here, I was a bit older, and they took me to this specialist. That's how I found out. To me, I thought it was a gift. I thought it was kind of gifted to have this non-difficulty. Now it's in stage. Oh yeah. Yeah. Maybe they might not be teaching us the same thing as other people, but say, yeah, you can go to college. So for me, it's difficult sometimes it's not difficult. Just if you have difficulties to do, sometimes you find it easier to be able to do it.
Some of them, but some of them do, some of them don't. Yes, sometimes.
Sometimes work, sometimes in a form, difficult form.
They want to be treated equally. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
So it's very worrying.
very upsetting as well.
Just feels like they're not included. There's not quite including us in the conversation.
And it doesn't make things easy.
But we are the same. We're not like animals, we're the same. So they have to teach us like that. And that's what they should know. I just say normal are different things. How they see it, I have a different, now I see you normal. Different is a lot of things. I'm different, you're different. You're normal, I'm normal.